不愿染是与非，怎料事与愿违，心中的话。
Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel of Nev Khalees, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to install a lace front wig for beginners like me. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and start putting the cap over her head, over her nose a little bit but not too much because you want to make sure she can breathe. Then we're going to go ahead and cut out the ear holes, and I'm going to do that for both sides. Once we both cut out both ear holes, you're going to go ahead and take your scissors and I'm sorry, do apologize, not your scissors. You're going to go ahead and take your sewing needle and thread and start sewing from the ear all the way back to the next ear, and then you're going to also want to sew the back of the cap to make sure it does not rise, because we need this cap to stay on as long as possible. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. So I'm going to go ahead and start sewing in her hair. Sewing in the cap to make sure it stays. For once I cut it by the ear, it will end up splitting in half, and that's why you want to sew in by the ears and behind it in the back of the cap to make sure it still stays there once you cut it. So yes, that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. I know you guys see that I have this little belly hanging over. I do apologize. A homegirl been eating too much. So yeah, we're gonna be back on that diet. But right now I'm going in with that got to be spray to hold it down. And you want to follow the hairline when doing this. So when it's time to cut, it will be an even cut, and then also you want to know that's where you're gonna be putting your glue at so that you can stick the lace onto it. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue spraying, make sure it's even as possible, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the blow dryer and start to dry it up, because I don't have a regular dryer where she can sit under. I do apologize, but yes, so you go ahead and do it with the blow dryer instead if you don't have like the sit under dryer, which I don't have. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it again, because you want to make sure that you want to put as much spray as possible, because the way you put your spray is the way the cap is gonna lay. So the more spray the better, because you want this cap to sit, not rise up, but to sit. And you want to make sure it's completely dry, because if it sticks back at you, that means it's not dry, it's still wet, because it will be able to rise up when it's time to put all your other products. I'm done blow drying. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting the cap, and we're going to cut from the side and then work our way slowly to the other side. You can use razors, you can use the scissors, you can do whichever one that you prefer, but this part you want to take your time with, because you want to make sure everything is even and laid out. And then once you cut it the way you prefer and you make sure that it's cut even to your preferences, then you can go ahead and go back in with that got to be spray and start spraying it down to make sure this cap is stick to the forehead, not hard now to where she's gonna complain, but you want to make sure this cap does not rise at all, honey. Okay, all right. So right now I'm just cutting by the earlobes to cut that part off. Don't worry, this is why you want to sew the cap in the back down so it does not rise when you cut off this part. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just making sure everything is even cut, each side are cut, where the ear part is at, and then I'm gonna go ahead. So now I'm gonna go back again with my spray to make sure again the cap needs to be laid down. You don't want your cap rising, so that's why I'm going back in again to make sure it does not rise up by adding more of the spray. Then I'm gonna blow dry to make sure it's nice and hard and not movable, not one bit at all. Okay. So right now, after I done blow dried, I'm gonna take my alcohol wipes and I'm gonna start wiping off her forehead, clean it up. You know, you want to make sure the forehead is clean and ready access to be able to start putting down the glue down. You want to let it air dry for a little bit after you put the alcohol, because the alcohol will cause the glue. It will definitely cause the glue to come up, because you know, to take off the lace you need alcohol. So you want to make sure it's cleaned off so that you can have the glue to stay and not be rising off in like 20 seconds from now, you know? So yeah, so that's what we're going ahead and do right now. I'm just trying on the wig on her head, brushing out a little bit to see which style she prefers. She says she wanted a side part, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just brushing out to see how I'm gonna do this part, what side I'm gonna do it, and she said she wanted a side part, so that's when I started going to the other side and figure out where I'm gonna start measuring so that I know where to do my plucking for when I do my side part. So that's all I'm doing right now. So once I do all that and I finished figuring out what side I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna just take her hair back, flip it back, and then so I can start putting on the Ghost Bond glue. I believe that's what it is. I'm sorry, you guys. I always end up putting my products up. Once I'm done, I have a habit of cleaning up my mess, putting everything back up. So it's like every time it's time to do voiceover, you know, the girl be just forgetting these products. But I do apologize. I will have them down below in the description. So I'm just putting dots right now around her cap. I'm putting it like on the cap, but a little bit before the cap, because you want a little bit of the glue on top of the cap, like going towards the cap. So you want to push it on there, you know, not too much on her head, but more like right between where the cap begins at. So that's what we're doing now. And you need a toothpick or a popsicle stick, whichever one that you have. Not a toothpick, I do apologize. A popsicle stick or something similar to that, so you can be able to spread the glue, because you don't want to do it with your hands. Trust me, you do not want to do it with your hands, because it's just very uncomfortable. So right now you just want to let it air dry until it get clear. So we're just letting it air dry. Once it becomes clear, then you can go ahead and put the lace over it. I'm just showing you guys my hand because of the dye, the spray that I use in her cap to make it the color. So yeah, that's the part I hate. It's just, my hands get messy a lot. So with this part, you really want to hurry up and lay the lace the way you want it. You can have your client hold at the side while you go ahead and fix, for you to go ahead and hurry up and even out the hair. Make sure it's laid down correctly so that the glue and everything in the hair is nice and set correctly to the way you prefer to set it, or how your preference is, whatever you feel. So yes, you can have your client hold the sides for you so you can easily just make sure everything is glued down and nothing is lifting. And then you want to take a blow dryer and just melt that lace, baby. Just melt it all down. So yes, do not mind my sister. She's just so, I don't know, but I can't complain. She's allowed me to try it on her hair. So right now, you're just gonna take your tweezers and go ahead and pluck out the part to how she wanted, or to how you prefer if the client didn't tell you to. So I'm just doing a short part for her right now because she didn't want a full deep part. So I just did like a very small one, but just a little bit where you can see it. So that's all I'm doing right now, just plucking it. So right now I'm just taking the comb and parting out for the baby edges. This is the worst comb to ever use, but at the moment I don't have one of those small rat tail combs right now, so this is the one I have at the moment that I'm gonna use. But you just want to part out how much you feel like you want to use for the baby edges. The thinner it is, the better. And I just twisting it up to so I don't mix it up with the, you don't want to mix up the hair together. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just separating it, twist out the ones that I'm going to use for her baby edges. So once I separate out my baby edges, I'm going to go back in with my tweezer and start plucking the hair. Done now plucking it, I'm gonna go ahead and take my bandana around it and just sit it there just so I can do the cut the hair, because I should have did that before, but I do apologize, I did it. So yeah, I'm working backwards, but it's all right. So you're just gonna go ahead and start cutting how you prefer. I just will cut out like 2 lines just to give me my directions of how I'm cutting, and I use my scissors and razors because I want to make sure it's a nice even cut. So that's why I cut it first and then I go back in with my razors to even it out. Or you can do either or. It's your preference. For me, I would prefer to use both if I can. So that's all I'm going to do now. I'm just going to go in with my scissors and razor and even it out and make it as best as possible to look like edges.
you having? Hot tea, sweet tea, I'm tea bagging, and all of the Barbies is on my sack. It's my tea party, don't wanna get wet, and I don't even know who I'm going home with. Put something in my cup to help me forget. Drinks on me, what you having?
Now I'm just gonna put her hair in a ponytail so that I can start doing the baby edges. So I'm gonna be using one of my foams, my mousse curling foam, and just lay it on there with the baby edges, start creating them. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the edges again a little bit to my preferences, because you want it probably like an inch or so, or it depends on you how you ever do your baby edges. But I'm gonna be real with you guys, I don't have the baby edges, but I tried my best and it came out okay. It came out better than the first time I did it on my previous video. I know y'all saw that. That was like, girl, that was not baby edges. So I do apologize. I really do. Okay, so once I done put on my baby edges, I put it the way to I prefer. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up so it can sit for a while. You want to let it sit for 30 minutes or so if you have a dryer. If not, I advise you just to let it sit as long as possible, okay? So I'm just gonna let it sit while I go ahead and start styling her hair. Well, all thing I'm doing is adding the mousse. I'm going to go ahead and flat iron it, add some conditioner, some little bit of water to it, you know, so them curls can come to life, baby. Because right now her hair just looking who knows who, but we gonna get it together. We is finna slay this lace, okay? We finna do it. Yes. So now we're gonna go ahead and take the blue bandana off, and then we're gonna go ahead and start blow drying these baby edges. Make sure they sit and do not remove. And then once we do that, we're just gonna go ahead and cut that wrap paper off so we can see how this baby is slick. Yes, it's supposed to be up, but apparently my sister don't know how to stay still. So yeah, that baby was just dropping down. So I'm just gonna go ahead and brush it down. Brush out the hair, add some more mousse to it, and then I'm gonna add some of the Gatsby spray, and then you guys can be able to view the finished look. Okay, 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 okay.